weeks ago. It was on Valentine's Day weekend. My wife and I decided that we wanted to go on a retreat. So we contemplated that a while before, and we decided rather than going on a usual retreat, which we usually go on a retreat once a year or do something of that nature, we decided that we would have our retreat at home. Our home, we just built it, and it's a nice place. We like it. We thought this would be a wonderful place for us to have a retreat on our marriage, a retreat on the relationship that we have for improving it, and our retreat also bringing God and keeping God in our marriage as we continue our relationship with Him in our marriage. So we began planning in advance of the retreat. We came up with some readings that we would read and a few other details that we would do. We went out and bought some shrimp, and we bought some steak, and then for the other meal we thought we would have leftovers. So we took care of ourselves in that way. We also got some potato chips, which we usually don't buy, and some candy, some Dove's chocolates. So we was all set and ready for the retreat. Well, one of the things that we did was set a card table in the middle of our living room, and we placed on it a tablecloth, our Thanksgiving tablecloth. We placed on that just as a reminder of what we're thankful for. And what we was going to do is throughout the retreat, if there was something that was really special to us, or something that we thought of that was really very special, or something that we really like, that we would place it onto that table. So we had our retreat, and it was a very good retreat. Why am I mentioning this? This actually is a mentioning something that any of you can do. And not only you who are married, but even those who are in their teens and younger or older or widowed. Those that are in their teens, they do all kinds of different things together with their friends. They are actually some of the best examples of someone that could do things with their friends together and bringing God into it. And it's the same with older folks as well. God wants all of us to be in relationship with Him. We can go back to the days of Noah, the people after the fall of Adam and Eve, the slaughter of Abel by Cain, murders, all kinds of wickedness was in the world at the time of Noah. And God seen this, and He was very unhappy, and He sent rain for 40 days and 40 nights. He told Noah, one who had relationship with God, to build an ark and take his 3 sons and his wife and their wives and animals of all kinds, 2 of each, load up the ark, and they were saved. God wants us to live in covenant. He wants us to live in a covenantal relationship with Him. After the days of Noah, Abraham and God made a covenant. And God told Abraham, I will be your God, and you will be my people. God speaks to us in the same way. It actually defines what a covenant is. It's that solemn agreement between people. It's that solemn agreement between us and God. I will be your God, and you will be my people. But as time went on, people continued to push God to the wayside and live in their own way, maybe in wickedness. But our God is a loving God. Our God is a merciful God, and He sent His only Son into the world for us. Our Son that came into the world began His ministry. He began it out in the desert for 40 days, praying in relationship to God, tested by the devil, by Satan, who was trying to convince him that he didn't have to go through what he was going to be going through, going to Jerusalem and dying on the cross, suffering, and then rising from the dead. Our God brought, through Jesus Christ, through the blood of Christ, a new covenant, a covenant of love, an eternal covenant, an everlasting covenant, an opportunity for us to live in relationship with God and with each other. So how do we go about doing that? How do we go about developing this kind of relationship, a covenantal relationship where it's working with God and working with others? The best way to do that is to look at couples. Couples talk together to each other in their relationship. They may just sit quietly and non-verbally communicate with each other. They work together. They do different things together, eat together. What about the teens? Teens is the best example I can give of relationship. Teens crave to be with their friends. That's all they think about. When they're in school, they're thinking about their friends, waiting to get between classes to possibly see them and say hello or walk to class with them. Teens crave their friends. They love to do things with them after school or before school or school activities, or have them over for the evening, or have a slumber party, or to go sledding or hunting or fishing or skiing or something with their friends. If they go on a vacation, a lot of times they want their friends to go with them and their folks on vacation with them. They have that relationship. This is the kind of relationship God wants us to have also. This is how God wants us to be His people, to be in relationship with Him, just as the teens and their friends. And not only the teens, but the older folks as well. The older folks, sometimes they will go for days planning on what is going to happen. They know they are going to go to the bingo with their friends, or they know that they're going to play cards with their friends, which they do on every Monday or every Friday or Wednesday or whenever. And they look forward to it all week. God wants us to also look forward to doing things with Him. So this is how we can enter into this covenantal relationship with God, interacting with God in our lives. We can interact. First of all, we are all here for the liturgy. We are interacting. But God wants us to even make our relationship deeper. And these 40 days of Lent, just as Jesus out in the desert, for us, these 40 days of Lent is an opportunity and an invitation for us to enter deeper into this relationship. You know, when my wife and I, we set that table out there with that Thanksgiving tablecloth on it, we only placed 5 things on it through that Friday and Saturday. And then on Sunday, we did go to our children's house for that afternoon, cautiously and being very aware of still being in our retreat, but yet in relationship with our children. The things that we placed on that table was things, not a fly rod or my binoculars or my wife's sewing machine or the gadgets and trinkets that we really like. What we placed on there was, first of all, actually before it began, together we processed and placed a crucifix, which is the greatest gift that we have been given, our greatest treasure that we have. We placed that in the center of the table. But then I placed a basket, just a little woven basket that was filled with small rocks. Rocks that we had picked up here, rocks that we had picked up there along the way. And that represented all the different times that we were together, doing things together. Maybe taking the kids on a hike, and picking up a rock, and one of them going into that little basket. Our relationships, they are so important. I'm going to ask the teens, how many times have you, when you've had your friends over, brought for the evening or for a slumber party, how many of you brought God along with you? Or how many of you, when you were together for the evening, that you would take 5 minutes or 3 minutes and pray together? My guess is probably, unless it's been an activity at church, you probably haven't, unless it's maybe at the meal prayer. Have you ever thought about that? This is another way of that relationship, that covenantal relationship, that you can enter into God with your friends as well. Only 3 minutes, just a short little prayer, or just each of you talk about how God is present in your life today. 1 minute apiece. There's so many different ways in which we can enter God into our own relationships, and especially into our marriage, which is a covenantal relationship in itself. And with our folks, our older folks, as you're playing cards, do you take God with you when you go to play cards? Let him play along with you at your side. And you don't have to be talking about God all evening, and nor the kids, but have him with you. Just know that he is in your presence, right along with you. Or when we do acts of love, that is another time when we cautiously know that God is with us. You know, the relationships that we have with each other become deeper and deeper when we have a relationship with God. And the relationship that we have with God becomes deeper and deeper when we have those good, full relationships with our spouse, with our family, and with our friends. These 40 days of Lent. These 40 days of Lent is a time of retreat. It is a time, an opportunity, a privilege for us to enter into a deeper relationship with God and each other.